ठीक है. So basically अगर हम summarize करते हैं तो pop is a function that will remove values from specific locations. So there are basically two ways to make use of pop function. One, without mentioning any bracket like the way we have used it here. So what happens exactly when we do not mention the location, it will by default pick the last element of the list and remove it. So that is exactly why it returned 5 as a value in this particular case, right? And when we specify something in pop function, it assumes it to be the location. So pop basically removes the value mentioned at the location, given location that gets mentioned in the pop function. So clearly it will remove the value present at location 2, which happens to be 6 in this case. So it returns that value. On the other hand, we have a very similar function, remove, which is used to remove values, but it is value-based removal. So what you mentioned here is the value that is supposed to be removed. So when I mentioned 7 here, it means I want to remove 7 from the list. So it specifically identifies where 7 is and it removes it. It does not return anything. It makes the removal and keeps the updated list. So when we print the list, we get to see that 7 is missing, which clearly indicates that it has been successful to remove 7, that value that we wanted to remove from the list. So this is how this works. So if you have to find out the difference between pop and remove, it's very simple. Pop removes value from a particular location. When we give it, it removes it from that location. When we do not, it removes the value from the last location. So it basically removes a value from a location. On the other hand, remove function will remove a specific value. If it finds it, of course. If we specify a number that does not belong to the list at all, it is not found, obviously it cannot return. So suppose I write remove uh, 14, sorry, 10, right? So what will happen? It will generate an error because this is not there. It cannot help it. It will not manufacture value to remove. So basically, it generates a runtime error. So in this case, it was not able to find 10. So it clearly mentions that is a value error. We've not been able to find this value. So there's an error for this. Right?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
हाँ जी निमिषा बताइए.
Yes, sir. Sir, I have a doubt. In program, the question is write a program to input the values and check whether a given element exists in a list or not.
अच्छा. You want me to solve this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So how much I could understand, I will write it here. Program to search a given value in a list of values. Is this fine? This is
No,
what.
sir. No, sir. Write a program to input values to a list
Huh, after that, input
and
values
check
to.
whether a given and check whether the given element exists in a list or not.
Huh, obviously, to search, obviously, we'll input also, na? So that's okay.
Sir.
So let me mention
Okay,
that
sir.
input values to a list, as you said. But usually this input part is not required to be mentioned. Why? Because it is very obvious that you have to take input from the user before doing anything. Input values
Okay, sir.
to a list and search. Is this correct now? See?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what we do is we start with an empty list. We create an empty list. We take this input from the user, that how many values it wants. So we keep it very generalized, enter how many values. This is something that we must do every time we want to get values for a list. Then we set up a loop that goes for n times. So we write in range n. Then we um, take input from the user, input, enter a value. And then we get this value accepted from the user appended to the list. Now this is complete. We have got the values for the list. Now we also take another value, say x, which is the other value, enter another value, which is to be searched, right? So what exactly we want is we want to see whether x is present in A or not. This is the question. So what we do here is I in range of n, because n is the total number of elements. What we see here is if ai is equal to x, then we will probably come out of the loop that we found, right? So we may think of printing found, right? And in case it never comes out in between, that means the loop goes till the end of the loop. So if I becomes n, or maybe something like this, that it hasn't come out of the loop in between, we will print not found. So we should also see whether it is found or not. And we can always use count function also for this. So what we do is, if we probably after having entered this, we can simply write a statement like this, that p is equal to a dot count x, and simply write if p is equal to 0. Remember, count tells you how many times a given value is present in a list. Else, so we can do this as well to make it very simple. So let's execute this. I'll take you to the output screen. These are outputs. Let's take 5 values: 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So I write 15, which is not there. So not found, right? And I go back and execute the program again. This time I'll deliberately enter something that exists. 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and let it be 40. I want to search 40. So see, found. So that's the purpose. So you can also, the way I was doing it earlier, you can also switch over to that way. We can, what we'll do is, let's keep this as comment, and we set up a loop I in range. I'm telling you the other way to do this without using count, right? So what do we
Okay,
do?
sir.
AI is equal to x. So whenever A matches with x, what we do is we don't write any message here. Just a minute. What we do is we simply increase p by 1. So end of the loop, p, if p is still 0, that means p has never increased. So initially p will be 0. When we start counting, we always keep the variable 0. So we assign 0 to p just to mark the starting of the count for a process. So we set up this loop, which starts from beginning to end of the list. And every time it matches, we simply increase p by 1 as count, and exactly the way count works. So if you don't want to make use of count, so you can use your own logic like this. And if the after the loop gets over, if p is still 0, which clearly means that it has never got equal to any of the elements, which means that the given value is not there. So we say not found, and otherwise found. So let's see if this works as well. I will take a very similar situation. I'll take 5, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and I'll search 40. So it says found, which is what happened last time also. I'll execute it again. 10, 20, 30, say 30, 40, 50, and I'll write, say, 15. It should say not found, and says no. Right? So this is
Yes, sir.
the required program. So both ways. So if you want to make use of count, you don't have to write this part. If you don't want to make use of count, you have this option. So it depends. Depends if the question says that you're not allowed to make use of any function, existing function, then of course you can use this logic also. Both ways, you can find what you want to do. Right?
Yes, sir.
Hanji, what else?
So there is one more question. Write a program to input the values to a list and count how many values of list are less, more, or equal a given number x.
So it is going to be very similar to previous question. What I'll do is I'll switch over to another screen and I'll solve this problem. Input values to a list and find how many values are greater, lesser, or equal. Equal as compared to another value. So just to understand what exactly it means is, suppose we have a list like this, right? We have a list like this. And another value that is to be searched, to be compared with is 7. Now, what we have to do is we have to find out how many values are there which are more than 7 and less than 7 and equal to 7. So we can see here lesser than 7 is, see this 536, all these three numbers are lesser than 7. So there are three values which are lesser, greater. We have 8 and 9 which are greater than 7. So we have two numbers that are greater than 7, and there is only one value which is equal to 7. That means there is 1. So out of 6 values that we have, 3 are lesser, 2 are greater, 1 is equal. So this is what we did manually. We want to write a program for this. So what exactly we do is, again, we'll start with an empty list. We ask the user to tell us how many values it wants. So how many values are required. So we take that input from the user. We set up a loop because we need to execute that number of times so that we are able to take that number of values from the user. So one value at a time, enter a value. We keep taking V and keep appending it to A. So now, after having entered the values of the list, we'll also ask for the other number. So let X be the other number, and we'll take it as input from the user, enter another value. So this is how it is. Now we will check how many values. So we will take three different counters here. One is L, one is G for greater, and E. So L stands for lesser, G stands for greater, and E stands for equal. Right? So we'll set up a loop, and I in A. So I in A will ensure that all the numbers included in the list are taken care of, are considered. For this, we check whether X is greater than I or not. So if it is the case, we will increase G, elif. If X is found to be lesser than I, then we'll decrease by 1. Sorry, we will increase L by 1. We're counting. And else, the obvious left condition is equal. So we write E plus equal to 1. So we increase by 1, increase the value of G by 1 when we find that X is greater than I happens to be the number that is a part of the list. So we're comparing and we are doing an increment of G if we find X is greater than that list value. X is lesser than, if X is lesser than the list value, then we increase the value of L, which represents lesser. And if both the conditions are not true, the only possibility is that value being compared and the list value are equal. So E should be incremented. Finally, what we do is we print greater G lesser L, and finally equal D. So that's how it is. I'm saving it. Right. So I execute this. I'll take you with output screen. So let's have 5 values to be searched. There's some problem. Okay. Yeah, it should be range of N. Otherwise, this will not work. I'll take you to the output screen. 35, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So if I enter 35, you see, there are two numbers which are greater than 35. It should be 3, no?
Yes, sir.
So I think we need to make change in the this condition. So basically, it should be like this. If I is greater than X, then this. If I is less than X, then this. Right? So it's just the reverse of what should have been done. Let's do it. 5, 20, 50. Oh. Let's execute it again. So 5, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and 35. So there are 3 values which are greater than 35. So 3, lesser there are 2 values. So 2, and equal none. There is no values equal to 35. Right? So that's the program that we're looking for.
Okay, sir.
I'll share the code also so that you can look into it. But the point is you have to understand how it really does work. So this is how it works.
Okay, sir.
हम्म। हाँ जी रिया प्राची बताइए और इस तरह can be clear for you.
सर नो ऐसा तो कोई डाउट नहीं है, हो गया वैसे क्लियर।
ठीक है रिया
सर मेरे को तो अभी ऐसा कोई डाउट नहीं है, अगर कोई आएगा तो मैं आपको पर्सनल पे जितने होते हैं मैंने ऑलमोस्ट पूछ ही लिए हैं।
ठीक है then let's close it. So if something comes to mind you can message me, right? चलो all the best all of you. निमिषा
Yes, sir.
कुछ होगा तो बता दीजिएगा मेरे को, ठीक है?
Yes, sir. Sure.
चलिए okay all the best all of you. Good night.
Thank you,
Take care.
sir.